I'm Amber Hefner. I'm the director of Illinois Digital Educators Alliance. We're very excited to have our partner Everfi on with us today. Once they are done presenting, I will share the PDH information in the chat window as well. So you will receive one PDH for attending today. With that, Anna, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks so much, Amber. Welcome, everybody. We're so happy to have you today. The topic for today's session is called Who's the Boss? Supporting your budding business owners with our Venture Entrepreneurial Expedition program. Before we begin, we're going to review just one more time those features you may need to use from Kino. So looking at that bottom left-hand side of your screen, you'll see that spaces/chat function. If you want to click on that and just test it out, you can see that there's two options for you in there. Go ahead and click the chat if you want to chat anything publicly, ask a question, feel free to do that there. And then in the middle of your screen, there is the mute/turn off camera button. One of them looks like a microphone to mute yourself, and then the other one is a camera. So if you need to mute or unmute at any time, turn your camera on and off. Those are there. The team is here to help. If you have any questions, do feel free to drop them in the chat. But I think we're kind of ready to get going, and I'm excited. While we have some people coming in still, please do utilize the chat function to answer either of the following two questions. What school do you teach in, and which subjects do you teach? Or answer the question, who's an entrepreneur that inspires you? To kind of get the ball rolling on this topic, we figured that would be a great question to ask. Go ahead and let us know in the chat. Team, if you want to let me know if anyone's saying anything interesting, that would be great.
Looks like we've got lots of people typing.
And you might notice too, everyone, that when we're not spotlighted, our voices are kind of soft. So if you are hearing someone talk, you can hover over their tile, and there's a way for you to increase their volume. So everyone has a volume button. It's kind of cool. Just wanted to highlight that for everyone.
And it looks like a lot of folks have weighed in with who they are and where they're teaching. So we've got a pretty diverse group here. It looks like quite a few family and consumer science teachers, quite a few business teachers here today. So thank you all for joining us. One thing I tell every teacher with whom I work is that no matter what subject you teach, kind of grades K through 12, we probably have a resource that will help enrich your class. So I know today we're going to focus on our entrepreneurship classes, but know that we have quite a bit of diverse curricula available for you to use. And again, the best part is everything we're about to talk about today is no cost.
Woohoo. As people are answering that question in the chat, I can go ahead and introduce the folks you have on the call today. I'm pleased to introduce myself. My name is Anna Urban. I'm an implementation specialist here in Illinois. I work primarily with Chicago Public Schools and some of our regions to the west of Chicago. I'm also joined by Jonathan Barnes, who is my fellow CPS person. He's also working with some districts on the south side. And then also we have Megan Moran and Rachel Henry. There are two implementation leads. Megan lives up in Milwaukee, who works with Wisconsin schools. Rachel is working in Iowa and also helps on the west side of the state. I'm getting some echo. Is anyone else hearing echo on their end?
It may have been someone I saw and I just muted them. So I think we should be okay now. I'll keep an eye on people's mics if they're on accidentally.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Jonathan. And finally, I'm introducing Jonathan Filzen, our Director of K-12 Programs. He works with districts around the state and supports our entire Illinois team. We are so excited to be here to chat with you all. Again, this platform is new to us and for all of you. So if you have any questions or we run into any troubleshooting problems, we'll get through them together. It will be a fun and exciting afternoon. I'm going to go over the agenda for everyone. We're doing introductions right now, so we already have step one done. Then we're going to talk about some entrepreneurship trends since COVID, which I know is a topic on many people's minds. Then we're going to dive a little bit further into the Everfi platform and talk specifically about the Venture Entrepreneurship course. And then our lovely Jonathan is going to help everyone get started today, which is so exciting. To introduce our topic today, we're going to discuss a bit about entrepreneurship trends since the beginning of COVID back in 2020, which I don't know about you guys, but that feels like years ago to me, like 5 or 10 years ago at this point. We're going to take a look at some shifts and some data points with entrepreneurship during COVID. The next slide shows just a handful of news articles that come up with a quick Google search. So take notice here. There's Forbes, Vox, New York Times. All of these big news companies are talking about the entrepreneurship boom that has really taken place. Many of us might be wondering, why now? What has really transpired this evolution in entrepreneurship? I think the reality is that in the face of COVID, many Americans began to seek flexibility in their careers. I think we really saw a shift from centralized offices to remote work. Many of us are calling in remotely today from our remote jobs. But we also saw that many workers across the country were no longer motivated by a paycheck alone. And a lot of us began to seek meaning and purpose in our careers. Entrepreneurial opportunities are most definitely one of the things that are fulfilling that need for workers across the nation. If you look on the bottom right, Forbes notes that flexibility, self-employment, and the impact of technology's reach have all influenced these types of trends. But I want to take a little bit deeper dive on the numbers here. I think y'all will find the next slide really interesting with some stats. Taking a look at the numbers on this slide, there is an obvious need for a course that teaches students all about becoming an entrepreneur. Currently, men almost double the amount of women who are entrepreneurs. Many of you who are on this call may know of a female identifying student who dreams of becoming an entrepreneur one day. Yet there's clearly a gap here. Looking at the statistic on the far right, there's almost 6 million people under the age of 35 who are currently entrepreneurs, showing us that this is a lucrative career field for young adults, with even more traction as of late. Finally, and most alarmingly, about 22% of small businesses fail within the first year. What this could tell us is maybe that our young people are pursuing entrepreneurship without fully understanding what it takes. Maybe they've become resource strapped or haven't fully developed their marketing plan. Regardless, at Everfi, we recognize that young people need to be introduced to entrepreneurship with both its challenges and its opportunities in order for students to make informed career decisions after they leave high school. Now, we'll switch gears a little bit and talk about our model and the impact that we're making before diving in on how to use this course in your classrooms. Many of you may have seen this slide before. We like to say here at Everfi that we partner in whole child learning. And that whole child definitely starts with all of our engaging digital lessons, including Venture. Every course is online and every course is self-paced. All are available on laptops and tablets. But even more than that, we offer free assessments and reporting right within the dashboard. We also have local support like Jonathan, Megan, Rachel, and myself. We're happy to work with your school on offering a PD session, an entrepreneurship workshop that we'll talk about a little bit later, or even an event kickoff. Our resources are available to teachers and students at no cost because of our incredible sponsors. So today we're going to be diving into teaching students all about entrepreneurship. But first I want to show you a bit more about the importance of real-world learning and where entrepreneurship fits in. This model has been utilized to represent a holistic version of the well-being of a child. As you can see, each dimension of wellness can affect the overall quality of one's life. We like to show this model specifically because it takes into account not just physical health, but all of the different areas that can impact a child's well-being. As you can see, there's emotional wellness, social wellness, financial wellness, and we're thinking about the many different ways in which students can develop the skills they need to thrive as adults. Entrepreneurial education is going to fall on that right-hand side of the model into that occupational financial category. We really want to equip students with the tools they need to make educated career decisions after high school. I also want to highlight a little bit about the impact we've had in Illinois in the past year. These numbers are from 2020 to the 2021 school year, in which we reached almost 100,000 learners in the state and had almost 2,000 teachers using our platform throughout the year. It's really cool to me to think about all the real-world learning that's gone on in Illinois just in this past school year. Again, the way we're able to provide the resources at no cost is because of our amazing sponsors that are shown at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Our resources do not cost you or your students anything, and we also have unlimited student licenses. A special shout out to our local sponsors, the Bears, the Blackhawks, the Cubs, and the Sox, and you can feel free to utilize the chat to duel it out over your favorite team. I bet you we have an even split of Cubs and Sox fans on the call. A couple notes about our specific Illinois partnership here. We are SOPA compliant, meaning student data is always secure in our website. And then we also have MOU agreement options. To date, we have over 30 clever integrations with districts across the state. If you think you're a district that uses Clever, but you're not really sure yet, don't worry because we have information for you later in the session. We also have curriculum placement opportunities to build into required district coursework. For example, we're a financial literacy partner for Chicago Public Schools. Finally, we partner with organizations like IDEA, which is how we're able to present this webinar today. So thank you, IDEA, for having us. Next up, just a quick note about accessibility. At Everfi, accessibility is really imperative. We have a unique opportunity to positively impact the lives of people with disabilities by deeply integrating accessibility into all aspects of our culture. Our resources are developed to be inclusive of all types of learners. We have characters from different places, backgrounds, statuses, socioeconomic statuses, and characters in our courses do make mistakes. And we at Everfi believe that that's okay, and we believe that that's how the learning actually happens. All of our courses are designed to provide empathetic and innovative learning experiences and are built to meet accessibility standards across most desktop, tablet, and mobile devices. We're really, really proud of our character development at Everfi, and you will see different types of characters throughout all different types of our courses. Okay, let's dive into the resources. This slide here is a great representation of all of our different course offerings and content areas. If you look at the top of your screen, you'll see a colorful banner. This shows all the different types of courses that we have to offer. So for example, the purple column is our financial education column. Blue is STEM and career readiness. Green, social emotional learning. Yellow, health and wellness. That navy color is our early academic readiness suite. And then on the far right, the gray is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, like Jonathan said earlier, we have courses for all students between K and 12, and the kind of lower level courses that are meant for elementary school are going to be at the top side of this screen. And some of your more advanced courses designed for upper level learners in middle school and high school are going to be at the bottom. Today, of course, we're focusing on the course highlighted in yellow, which is Venture Entrepreneurial Expedition. But I wanted to share this slide so that you have access to, so that you know you have access to all these courses with your free teacher account. You can assign any combination of courses that you would like, and they're all available in your teacher dashboard. And Jonathan's going to show you how to do that in just a bit. So if any of these are kind of catching your eye right now as I go through it, don't worry, you can have access to them right after this call. Now's the moment we've been waiting for. Let's take a deeper dive into Venture Entrepreneurial Expedition and chat about how to implement it in your classroom. But first, let's watch a brief video preview of the course.
Entrepreneurial thinking is a critical skill for the careers of the future. Innovative thinking, creativity, problem solving, and other entrepreneurial traits will be essential for student success. Venture Entrepreneurial Expedition uses case studies, interactive business simulations, and personal development activities to teach students how to think entrepreneurially in business and in life. This student entrepreneurship program isn't just about teaching kids business terminology. Students develop a personalized plan for their individual business, including financing, marketing, team building, and market research. along with a roadmap for academic and career success. Venture's 4 digital lessons are an excellent real-world supplement to business, economics, or career development education.
Super exciting. I'm really pumped to talk further about Venture Entrepreneurial Expedition. I know that many of my teammates on the call agree with me that this course is truly a favorite among students. Students get to design their own food truck, come up with a marketing plan, and even create a business pitch. So for the next few minutes, I'm actually going to break down each lesson. Now there's 4 lessons within this course. Each lesson takes about 20 to 25 minutes. That being said, the modules are self-saving, so if students need to come back to it on another school day, they can definitely do that. As you can see on the slide here, it is broken out for recommended for grades 7 through 10. However, we've had students up to 12th grade and as early as 6th grade utilize this course, and students will never see the grade recommendations listed on their screen. They will only see that you've assigned them the course. A little bit about standards alignment. This course is Jumpstart, CEE, and Common Core standards aligned. And the suggested class fit are really in that finance, economic, CTE courses. It also can really work well with social studies and science. A couple more things about this course before I move on to the first lesson. What I want to share is that this course really guides students through their own personal journey of becoming an entrepreneur. It provides them with the knowledge and skills that they need to successfully run a business and craft a personal budget. It's going to talk to them about things like startup capital, budgeting, growing a business, and creating a business pitch, which are all super applicable to the real world. Now diving into lesson 1, which is titled Building a Balanced Budget. Students will address the personal side of entrepreneurship here, connecting the dots between running a business and being responsible for their own finances. What I think is the most impactful part of this course is actually this budget slide right here. It's something I wish I would have had in high school because I don't think I realized how much it costs to just be an adult in life. As you can see on the slide, students really have to make a budget and define common budget elements like housing, utilities, health insurance, food, transportation, lifestyle, all expenses that I know we all love paying every single month. Students don't necessarily realize that these expenses are real, and they will also have the opportunity to identify different types of taxes and explain how those taxes are also impacting their income. So this slide does a really good, or this lesson does a really good job of breaking down a lot of the budgets and expenses that actual adults have to go through just to survive on this planet. Lesson 2. This is called The Entrepreneur in You. And in this lesson, students will explore the characteristics of successful entrepreneurs, but then also take a personal diagnostic test that helps them discover their unique characteristics and how they relate to their entrepreneurial dreams. So if you think about this lesson as sort of like a how do I fit into entrepreneurship, or what skills do I have that could be really relevant in the business world, this is really what lesson 2 is sitting upon. They will also be able to identify potential career pathways of interest within this lesson, which kind of brings the learning full circle into that college and career readiness space. Lesson 3, I would say, is the heart of this entire project. It's definitely a favorite among students. Students come back to this year after year and absolutely love this part of the course. Students will explore key business concepts here and apply them within a food truck business simulation. They will research, make business decisions, and then they also have to justify those decisions in writing. I think even more exciting is students will be able to create a name for their business, design the food truck, make a logo, and even make a signature dish, which is so fun for students and for teachers alike to kind of walk around and see what students are kind of dreaming up. But in addition to that, they're also going to have to identify a target market and then competitors, which is actually super applicable to the real world and what it takes to start a business. By the end of this lesson, they will have come up with a marketing plan that they'll actually get to deploy throughout the last lesson of the course. So taking us to lesson 4, this lesson is called Your Business Snapshot. In this lesson, students will draw on their previous business knowledge and what they learned about the 4 elements of a successful business pitch to craft an engaging pitch. I know many of us have had to do either a personal pitch or a business pitch before in our lives, and this is really a great first step to allow students to kind of craft a very introductory business pitch and practice it. They'll actually have to write it out right within the course, which I think is a really, really valuable milestone for young people. They'll essentially kind of decide what are the important elements of that business pitch, articulate it, and then practice it. But then as you can see on the screen here, they'll also get to meet fellow real entrepreneurs and learn about their stories, which is also a hit among students. Something really cool about Venture is that it culminates in an e-portfolio. This slide here shows what the e-portfolio looks like, which will contain all of the learners' business decisions, their pitch, the skills and characteristics that they possess, the new vocabulary that they learned, and an animated forecast of how their business will play out over time. This specific e-portfolio that you're seeing on this screen is something that many teachers have mentioned students love coming back to over and over again throughout the semester or school year. It's a really great tool that models how businesses look in real life, which is awesome.
I have a Dream Team jersey worn by the one and only Urban Magic Johnson. Wow. Dream Team jersey.
Thank you. All right. Talking about impact on this next slide. Before we go into the kind of demo and helping you all get set up with your courses, I want to talk about the impact of this course from the last school year. Students in this course and all of our courses will take a pre and post assessment. As you can see here, students gain knowledge in building budgets, planning and building a business, and learning about what entrepreneurship skills that they possess. Last year alone, we had over 7,000 students take this course in Illinois. Now, that being said, 45% of learners felt more prepared in understanding the risks involved in a business venture, and almost 60% felt more prepared to identify business opportunities. Interestingly enough, after the course, 43% of students shared that they were not too interested in owning their own business in the future. Now, this could be due to students recognizing the serious financial risks involved in owning a business and also understanding how difficult it can be to become an entrepreneur without the appropriate startup capital. I think this slide for me was super eye-opening that students really recognized what it took to start a business and become an entrepreneur through the learnings of this course. Now, I get to pass the presentation over to my colleague, Jonathan, who will be showing you all how to get started with your students.
All right. Thank you, Anna. So as we mentioned, Venture is really fantastic. And the best part about Venture and all of our programs is that you can check them out for free. You can go through the entire program without having to sign your students up and really make an informed assessment on if it's going to be a good fit or if any of our programs are going to be a good fit. So for starters, the best way to actually get started is to go to everfi.com/create. Once you're there, it's going to ask if you're a student or a teacher. I highly encourage you to click the teacher button. I highly encourage your students to click the student button. You'd be amazed how often those things get switched around. So please take notice of that when you're clicking. So click the teacher button. Once you do that, you'll be asked to enter in your county and your state and find your school. Almost 100% of schools in the state of Illinois are already in our database. If it's not, you can click the Can't Find Your School Register Here button, and it's just another really quick prompt to get you set up. We'll then just ask for some really basic information, first name, last name, the grades you teach, the topic areas you teach. That'll help us kind of customize recommendations once you get to your teacher dashboard, your school email address, and then a password, then just agreeing to the terms of service. Then you click Create Account. Now, as Anna mentioned, we are really excited that we are working with Clever as a rostering tool. So many of the districts here in Illinois, including Chicago Public Schools, use Clever as a rostering tool for their district-wide classes. One of the great things about integrating Everfi with Clever is that it takes a lot of the burden off of setting up classes. It's just as simple as a couple of clicks, and your students automatically get added into the program. So it makes things just a little bit easier and a little bit smoother. So As you're going through the registration process, you may get redirected to clever.com. At that point, you just need to sign in with your district credentials and find the Everfi app in your Clever app, which is right there. It's a white box that says Everfi. It's got a little orange bottom on it. And then that's going to take you straight into the dashboard as well. So it's pretty easy. These are just a handful of the districts that are already synced with Everfi through Clever. So this is alphabetized, so you can take a look, see if your district is there. As Anna mentioned, if your district is not there and you're using Clever as a rostering tool and would like to integrate with us, just shoot us a quick email. We can start that process happening, and usually we can make the beginning to end process happen in about a week or two. So if that's something you want to get done really quickly, we can make that happen. Or if it's just food for thought as we move maybe into the 22-23 school year, we'd be more than happy to set that up for you then as well. All right, so let me show you a little bit about the teacher dashboard. So to do that, I've created myself my own little faux teacher account here. So when you log in, you will probably see this screen. As you may be able to see here, I have a lovely pop-up here that asks, have your students enter the Future Smart Scholarship Contest. That is one of the great secrets about Everfi is we have so many scholarships available for students. This is just one of them for 6th through 8th graders who can be eligible for up to $5,000 in a scholarship account, which is really great. So you never know what kind of really cool stuff will happen when you log into your account. So when you're on your home screen, the very first time you log in, you may not see much here because this is where you're going to see any course that you've expressed interest in, either having created a classroom for it in the past or have just added it to your dashboard. To see all of our programs, all of our courses, you can click either the Catalog tab up here, or you can click the Explore Catalog button. Both will take you to the same place. So as you probably remember from one of our early slides, we have quite a few courses available. It can be a little unwieldy, so we tried to make it a little easier to find what you're looking for. So on our catalog screen, you'll see a couple of feature courses right up here at the top. WordForce is our early childhood class to help support young learners in learning how to read, which is really fun. I tell every teacher with whom I work that my son turns 4 in November, and he is like this close to being ready to start this program, and I'm really excited. Everfi is our core financial literacy course. We recommend it for virtually every teacher who teaches business or financial literacy in any program because it really does a good job of laying a foundational layer of knowledge. Then we have our financial education suite. So to navigate through our courses here, you just click these little arrows on the left and right side. It'll scroll through all of our offerings. As you keep going down, you'll see we have social emotional learning, health and wellness, career and college readiness, early learning for our elementary students, diversity, equity, inclusion, our STEM programs, and then the very last one at the bottom is everything that we have available. So you can scroll through these. Every single one of these squares will have age recommendations, grade level recommendations, and as Anna mentioned, these are just recommendations. One of the great things about our platform is you can preview any single one of these courses before you roll it out for students and make an informed assessment if it's going to meet the needs of your class and your students at this time. So while we do say Venture is recommended for grades 7 through 10, we definitely have some 6th grade teachers who are using it, and we most certainly have teachers who teach juniors and seniors in high school who are using it. So to learn a little bit more about the course, there are a couple of things we recommend. The first one, I'll just find Venture here, is you can click View Course. And what that's going to do is it's going to open a new tab, and you will see the entire program just as a student would see it. So it's going to pop up here. It looks like it may be rolling out a little bit slow for me right now, but you can click that and it'll show you the previews for courses. So Everfi here pops it up just like a student would see it. You can do every single one of the lessons and really preview it before you roll it out with your students. The other thing I always recommend is clicking on this View Resources tab here. What this will do is this will bring you to a new screen where you will see things like the ever important answer keys as you're working with students, course outlines, curriculum guides, standards alignments, lesson plans. One really exciting thing we're very proud of is we partnered with Pear Deck for interactive presentations that will help you launch this program with your class. Excuse me, if you've never used Pear Deck before, Think of it as an interactive PowerPoint where you put an initial screen up on a projector, students go to their laptops, enter in a website and a code, then the presentation is on their laptops, and they'll be able to answer questions in real time that you would ask them through the presentation. It's really great. We highly recommend it. So again, if you look at things like course outline, it'll open a new tab here, really give you previews of real digestible points on what each of these lessons does, the learning objectives, the description, the topics each lesson covers. So if you wanted to be modular and just maybe assign lesson 2 for some of your students, you can do that. There's nothing that's forcing you to go through the entire thing. You can really pick and choose what works best for your class. Likewise, the curriculum guide. It's going to be a little bit longer, go a little bit more in depth into everything each of these courses offers, but it really goes and gives you a really solid overview of everything the class can bring to you. So every single one of our programs will have the ability to preview it like you're a student, as well as additional resources. Now, when you're ready and decide that you want to do one of these programs with your students, all you need to do is click Create Class. That'll bring up this screen where you can name your class, anything you like. Select a start date. The only reason we ask your start date is because every single school that we work with has a dedicated implementation person like myself. And if you say you're going to start a program in, for instance, January, and we get to, say, Valentine's Day, your implementation specialist may shoot you a reminder email, just checking in, making sure everything's okay, and seeing if you need any assistance. So that's the only reason we ask for that start date there. We'll ask for your class size, so fewer than 15, between 15 and 45, and more than 45. Again, we have unlimited student licenses, so you never have to worry about your class size here either. And then your grade level that you'll be implementing the program with. So I'll just put 10th grade here. And the thing that I really like about creating a class is I have our Everfi financial literacy course selected here. But let's say you know you want to do some more things or make more programs available for your students. You can click Add New Courses and put check marks next to any other course you think your students would find value in or that you want to incorporate into your classroom planning. So for instance, if I know that my students are maybe thinking about what they're going to do after high school, maybe that involves going on to future education, like a four-year university, or maybe even a community college. We have a program called Pathways, which is all about preparing students to finance their higher education. You can just click the check mark there, and then click Add Selection, and now you have both these courses set up, and you just click Create Class. I think I need to name this something different. Sure. You click Create Class, and you get this pop-up. This is your code, your class registration code that your students will need to be added to your class. So this is just one of the ways that you can take the class that you created and load your students into it. I'll show you a few other ways as well. Now again, the caveat is if you're integrated with Clever, you don't need to worry about classroom registration codes because your students will automatically be added with the roster that you select for the class. But for those who are not integrated with Clever, your class code is going to be right there. You can copy it. You can paste it anywhere you like, but you never need to remember it because, as you can see, we're in our home screen now. In our Classes tab, every registration code is always saved here for you, so you can always click on it and find it again. So this is where you find your classes. Once you've created a class, it is again in the home screen, in Classes. And then to get students into these classes, you can do one of two things. You can either have students use that registration code, which is, again, very simple. When they log on to everfi.com/create, they click the student button. It'll ask them for that code right away. They put it in, then they fill out a few simple choices like selecting a username and a password, and they automatically get loaded into your class. So it's very, very simple. Another way students can get added is if you click the Students tab here, you can click on Add Students. Now you can either add a single student to your class, or the thing that I find very, very slick is add multiple students. When you click Add Multiple Students, you simply select whichever class that you want to add students to, click Next, then download this sample CSV file, which is basically an Excel spreadsheet where we will ask you to type in a student's first name, their last name or their last initial, create a username for them, answer if they are over the age of 13. The only reason we ask that is we do not ask survey questions if a student is under the age of 13. It's the only reason we ask that. Beyond that, an optional email for students, You can assign passwords for them. We recommend keeping them very simple. And then an optional parent email. And then you upload that CSV, and your entire roster is then in your classroom that you've created. So we try to make it pretty simple there. Going further along from our home tab here, reports. This is your gradebook. You'll be able to track your students' progress in real time as they proceed through each lesson of any course that you use. So my favorite program that I like to show off in this demo is our Everfi program here. I have one student in this class. His name is Testy McTesterson. He's my favorite student. And I can see all of Testy's scores. So Testy has gotten 100% on every one of the quizzes that end each lesson. And once a student passes every single quiz, they are then certified on the program. So whenever students are working on the program, you'll be able to see those scores in real time as students are moving through them. So we've kind of gone through all the aspects of the home screen here. We've seen the catalog screen where you can select and preview courses. The other screen I want to show off is the support screen here. This is kind of our general help screen where you can find more information and the resources to get help if you need it. So for instance, the first box you'll see here is your school's dedicated implementation specialist. If you teach here in the state of Illinois, which I imagine you do if you're on this webinar, your implementation specialist is on this call. We are all here for you. We are always only a click away. We keep our emails and usually our personal cell phone numbers readily available to help you with any needs you may have. I mentioned earlier scholarship opportunities. This link here will take you to our scholarship page on everfi.com because we have scholarships attached to so many of our programs. Fifth Third Bank is one of the big sponsors of our venture program here in Illinois, and they sponsor a fantastic scholarship for spring semester and for fall semester. So there are scholarships available for your students for doing this entrepreneurship program. We have a technical support center here that can help you with any technical issues you may have in accessing the dashboard or working with students on the programs. Course standards alignment, another link to the student registration page, and then troubleshooting tips for common issues that teachers and students may run into. The last thing I want to share on the dashboard is we have this invited teacher button here. If you click on this invited teacher button, this is a way that you can spread the good word about Everfi. If you're really enjoying using the programs and you happen to know a teacher either at your school or at a different school or a colleague from your college days who may get benefit out of it, you can go to the screen, enter in their name, their email, the school, their state or province. You can do a personalized greeting, and you can recommend up to 5 different programs that they can check out. Then you click send invitation. It'll send them a message saying, hi, you know me, I'm your teacher friend. I've been really enjoying Everfi, and I think you should check it out. If the teacher you recommend is at a school who doesn't use Everfi, or if they've never used Everfi before, and they start a program with at least 4 students, we will send you a $15 Amazon gift card as a donation to your classroom for that recommendation. So we always say that teachers are our best marketers. So if you really enjoy what you're doing with Everfi, we would love for you to continue spreading the word. So that is just a quick little tour of the teacher dashboard. I'm going to take a pause here for a drink of water and give you the chance, if there are any questions you have about the dashboard functionality, about creating classes, or anything I've kind of talked about so far. We'll just take a quick beat here before we kind of go through and wrap up with some of our other news and info. And while we're giving everyone this contemplation break, I want to open it up to any of my Everfi colleagues to see if I've actually forgotten to mention anything important here. Because I get on a roll, and sometimes the brain disconnects from the mouth and I forget things. I see lots of smiles from my colleagues indicating that they know my brain disconnects from my mouth at times. But not that I've forgotten anything, which makes me feel good. All right.
Well covered, well covered.
Thank you. Original job. All right. Let's come back here to our slideshow. So as I mentioned, there's a couple of ways to get students into these classes that you've created. The first is that classroom code that we talked about. Anytime you create a program, it's going to pop up that code, makes it really easy for students to get logged into that classroom. We also have quick start guides that we are more than happy to send you. It's a simple one sheet of paper with simple instructions for students to follow along. So we like to think we have the resources available that will help your students get logged into these programs that you create. As I mentioned, you can upload all your students at once by using that add multiple students function from the teacher dashboard. And then we also have the single sign-on feature with Clever. We're also hopefully working with a couple of other rostering systems, but we're still in testing phases with that. So maybe more to come on that in the 22-23 school year. So when students log in, this is basically what they will see. So we just have Venture here. But if you are working with students who have other teachers using Everfi programs, when those students log in, they will see the programs their teachers have assigned to them populate on their dashboard. All they then have to do is click Start. They will see their progress button there, but it'll start them off, and they can just get rolling right away. All of our programs are self-paced, so you do not need to be doing it all together at the same time as the class. It can be done asynchronously, which was a real boon as we were working with a lot of hybrid learning over the past 2 years. So this makes a really great asset for things like your Google Classroom. So if you have remote days, you can always say, students, I want you to do lesson 2 in Venture today, and then maybe pull an extension activity from the resources that are on the teacher dashboard. So we try to make it really easy to implement and really flexible for student and educator needs. I mentioned the invited teacher program. So if you recommend somebody and they start their classroom, we will send you a $15 Amazon gift card as a donation to your classroom. You will also, if you sign up for Everfi programs, randomly get emails from your implementation specialist. We offer classroom donations frequently because we really love you as teachers and like it when you use our no-cost programs. As Anna mentioned, we are SOPA compliant. So if you need to check on your district SOPA agreement and want to make sure all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, you can email Rachel Henry. She is our SOPA queen here in the Midwest, and she will get you all squared away. As Anna said, if we do not have an agreement on file right now, we have the option for you to sign on to a memorandum of understanding, which makes things even faster. So we can usually get that done within a week or two. Like I mentioned, we have a couple of different options. You can sign on to our Exhibit E, which is pretty easy and straightforward. You can sign to our template Illinois NDPA, which again makes things pretty fast. But if you have another privacy standard that your district is using that you want to use with us, you can always send that over and we can pass it on to our legal team for review. The top note is we want to work with you and we want to make sure that you are all comfortable using our programs because we're really proud of them and we are incredibly secure. We have lots of scholarship opportunities available. Students complete the course are eligible or can win a $1,000 scholarship. They do not have to be seniors to apply, so they are eligible for basically any grade level. All they have to do is click or finish at least 3 modules and write a short reflection on what they learned in them. So again, that's all accessible from your teacher dashboard and our scholarship webpage. As I mentioned, Fifth Third is one of our big sponsors here in Illinois. They sponsor Venture for so many of our Illinois schools. So students, if they complete just one lesson in Venture and then write a short essay, they'll be eligible for a $2,500 college savings gift card. Applications are due close to the end of May, so we still have about a month left for students to complete that one lesson and then write a short essay. Again, it's 300 to 500 words. This is actually a really great classroom activity too. If your entire class is doing Venture, you can dedicate a day to writing those scholarship essays too. It's really great writing practice. And then winners are going to be selected on June 24th. All right, and we'll just take a minute to go over some next steps. That link there, I'm not sure if you'll be able to click it, but I think we'll be dropping it into chat as well. This just will take you to a real quick survey to let us know how we're doing. If you are interested in maybe setting up an appointment for us to work with you directly or maybe doing a workshop with your class, you can also scan that QR code and that will take you to it as well. But I think, let me double check here, our slide deck. Yeah, that is the last slide in our slide deck. So we're going to open the floor up now for questions. I see the chat went off, so the link to that survey, thank you, Megan, is in the chat now as well. We would love to hear back from you. We've got about 10 minutes left before the end of the session, so any questions you have, we are here to answer those, and I'll just kind of turn it over to the forum.
Is everyone being shy now? No one has questions for the team? Please feel free to go ahead and put it in the chat window or come off mute if you have any specific questions. The experts are on hand. I think one thing, and I know that you've said it numerous times, I tweeted out at the beginning in big letters, all caps, no cost. But I remember when I first started talking about the Everfi resources, and I would continue to get the question, but how much does it cost? Or is this a, one of those freemiums, right? Where the first few things are free, but when you really want the guts of it, it has a cost to it. And I'm like, no, it's completely free. So I think it's just really hard as educators to really think, really, do they really mean free? So I don't know if you can talk to that a little bit. But again, for certain, reiterating that there is not any cost to these resources.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit more about our sponsorship model. Basically, as Anna alluded to, we work with lots of national, and because we're Illinois, lots of regional and local partners too. And what these organizations do is they want to do good in their community. They want to give back, and they want to finance education in a more direct way. So what they will do is they will partner with us and say, we would like to sponsor financial literacy for students throughout this region. So certain sponsors will sponsor Chicagoland area or downstate. I know I have a really great hospital collaborative who sponsors our prescription drug safety program for some of our schools kind of in eastern middle Illinois. But they fund these programs so that students, teachers, schools don't have to pay anything for them. So it's one of those ways that these organizations like to give back to their communities. I know we have a nationwide partnership with Mass Mutual for our middle school Future Smart program. And as you can imagine, a lot of these financial institutions, they have an interest in making sure young people understand the importance of things like being banked, understanding the value of money, the importance of saving and preparing for futures. So there is a lot of incentive to really funding these educational programs that will take the really great things teachers do in the classroom and apply them to real world skills that students will need really at a very early age. My favorite thing is that the Everfi financial literacy program, the very first lesson in it, puts students in the shoes of a high schooler who is working a summer job, who gets their first hard copy paper paycheck for the very first time. And the student asks, what do I do with this? And it takes them through the process of researching, where do you want to go to a bank? Do you want to go to a credit union? Do you want to go to a small local community bank? Do you want to go to a big national bank? And really weighing the pros and cons of all of those decisions. And then going down the primrose path of walking into that bank, knowing who works there, what do these people do? And really just building from there. So it's really fantastic just to see how amazing our sponsors are in not only funding these courses, funding these scholarships, but also providing lots of other really great opportunities for classroom engagements and for other programs for students as well.
Thanks for going into that deeper dive, Jonathan, on the who and the what and the why of why you are able to provide these resources for free or at no cost. So thank you so much. Any other questions? I'm excited to see that we have some people on here who are already using the program. So please do spread the word. Again, these are phenomenal opportunities. And I agree with Anna, I wish I would have had this when I was in high school. It really would have given me a skill set, you know, that I don't think we use enough going into college.
Tell it.
Totally. I was just going to say you are a better consumer when you're more knowledgeable about what it is that you have to pay for. And I think that's kind of the aim for so many of the courses, especially in our financial literacy suite.
Absolutely. Good to know the students like it too. Thanks for sharing, Julie. All right. Well, thank you again to the Everfi team. We are always excited when we get the opportunity to hear from them. And again, obviously, they're so supportive. All Illinois, I'm sorry, Jonathan, what's the term that you call? I was going to say experts. I know that's not what you call yourselves, although you are.
We're implementation specialists.
Implementation specialists. Thank you. All of the implementation specialists that support Illinois are on here, and that says a lot. So thank you all for taking the time to be here and support the educators across Illinois, and for all of you educators who have joined us live and hopefully on the YouTube stream, or those of you who will be watching it later. Please don't hesitate to reach out to your support person at Everfi. They're here for you. If you have questions about it, feel free to reach out to us at IDEA as well. We're happy to put you in contact with them. And the PDH information for those of you attending live is in the chat. So once again, if you're looking for the chat, it is in the lower left-hand corner. It says spaces/chat. If you haven't checked it recently, it might have a little number, red little bubble with a number in it. So click on that, and you can go directly to the link for PDHs that was put in there. And again, thank you to the Everfi team. We really appreciate your support, and we look forward to planning another Wednesday webinar with you.
Thanks for having me.